Welcome to the Digital Clinic for the Comfortably Numb, where we peel back the shiny wrapping paper from your modern life to reveal the rusty gears underneath. You sit there, scrolling through this on a device that has more processing power than the moon landing, yet you use it to watch cats fall off sofas. Your life is a series of padded walls you built yourself, and you call it success. You are trading your biological edge for a softer pillow, and the world's biggest corporations are charging you a premium for the privilege of becoming obsolete. We are diving into the 51 traps that turn a sharp human into a soggy sponge. This is the only place on the internet where the truth is served without a sugarcoating, because sugar is just another slow-motion shutdown button for your system. If you want to stop being a passenger in your own skin and start reclaiming your internal hardware, smash that like button and subscribe right now to join the few who actually want to see the code behind the simulation. Fact number 1. Memory foam mattresses, a quick sand trap for your structural integrity. The marketing wizards at brands like Tempur-Pedic paint a picture of weightless bliss, promising you the sleep of an astronaut floating in a silk cloud. You think you are treating your spine to a 5-star vacation, but in reality, you are sinking into a chemical swamp that turns your back into a wet noodle. Have any of you ever tried to get out of one of these things without looking like a flipped turtle? The reality strike hits when you realize your stabilizer muscles are essentially going on a permanent strike. Inside that block of polyurethane foam and various petroleum-based polymers, a process of thermal trapping occurs. This causes a systemic overheating of your outer layer, while the lack of resistance leads to muscle fiber deactivation. Your lumbar region becomes as soft as overcooked pasta because it no longer has to do any work. It is like trying to build a skyscraper on a foundation of marshmallow fluff. This is not a luxury sleep surface. It is a velvet-lined coffin for your posture. This is the structural equivalent of trying to win a marathon while wearing lead boots made of jelly. Fact number 2. Food delivery apps, a digital IV drip for your physical stagnation. Companies like Uber Eats or DoorDash sell you the dream of being a high-powered executive who is too busy to cook, offering you the world on a silver platter with just one thumb tap. You feel like a king in a digital castle, but you are actually just a captive audience for overpriced sodium bombs. Is there anyone here who still remembers the layout of their own kitchen, or has it become a graveyard for unused spices? The curtain falls when you see the hidden fees and the cold, soggy reality of a burger that has been sweating in a plastic bag for 40 minutes. Chemically, these convenience cycles trigger a massive dopamine flood that desensitizes your reward system, making real effort feel like a chore. Your metabolic engine starts to stall because you have eliminated the movement required to hunt or even stir a pot. Your biological hardware is being tricked into thinking food is infinite and effortless, leading to a state of cellular laziness where your mitochondria just give up. This is not a premium service. It is a subscription to a sedentary life. It relates to nutrition the way a gas station microwave burrito relates to a Michelin star feast. Fact number 3. Noise-canceling headphones, a sensory deprivation chamber for the socially bankrupt. Sony and Bose market these as a sanctuary of peace in a chaotic world, promising you a private bubble where the annoying sounds of humanity cannot reach you. You imagine yourself as a focused monk in a high-tech monastery. But you are actually just cutting the wires to your own situational awareness. Are you still paying attention to the world, or are you just waiting for the battery to die? The truth is that you are training your brain to become hypersensitive to the slightest vibration once the silence is broken. Technically, these devices use inverted sound waves to cancel external frequencies, which creates an artificial pressure on your eardrums. This leads to a state of auditory isolation that can actually dampen your brain's ability to process complex spatial environments. Your vestibular system, the part that keeps you balanced, starts to lag like a bad internet connection because it is missing the external cues it evolved to track. It is like living inside a vacuum cleaner bag, while the rest of the world is a symphony you have forgotten how to hear. This is not focus. It is a digital wall built between you and reality. Fact number 4. Automatic thermostats, a climate-controlled cage for your metabolic fire. Nest and Google promise you the perfect temperature every second of the day, ensuring you never have to shiver or sweat ever again. You think you are living in the ultimate comfort zone, but you are actually extinguishing your body's internal furnace. Does anyone here even know how to handle a draft without reaching for a remote? The reality is that your body has a built-in system for thermoregulation that you are letting rust away like an old car in a field. When you live in a constant 68-degree bubble, your brown adipose tissue, the stuff that burns energy to keep you warm, basically retires and turns into white storage fat. This causes a systemic slowdown of your metabolic rate, turning your internal engine into a sputtering lawnmower. Your cells lose the ability to adapt to environmental stress, making you as fragile as a hothouse flower in a blizzard. It is the biological equivalent of keeping a high-performance Ferrari in a garage and never shifting it out of first gear. This is not climate control. It is the slow-motion freezing of your human potential. Fact number 5. Infinite scroll social media, a slot machine for your attention span. Apps like TikTok and Instagram are designed by psychological engineers to be a frictionless experience, promising you endless entertainment and connection. You think you are just killing 5 minutes, but you are actually handing over the keys to your prefrontal cortex to a mindless algorithm. Are you still in control of your thumb, or is it moving on its own? The hammer drops when you realize 2 hours have vanished and you cannot remember a single thing you watched. Inside your skull, the constant flickering of new content causes a neurochemical firestorm that burns out your ability to focus on anything longer than a 10-second clip. This process, known as intermittent reinforcement, turns your brain into a frantic scavenger looking for the next hit of digital sugar. Your neural pathways for deep thought are being paved over by a highway of superficial garbage. It is like trying to read a classic novel while someone flashes a strobe light in your eyes and screams random words at you. This is not socializing. It is a digital lobotomy performed one swipe at a time. Fact number 6. Electric scooters, a motorized crutch for your lower body. Companies like Lime or Bird pitch these as the future of urban mobility, a fun and eco-friendly way to zip through the city without breaking a sweat. You think you look like a tech-savvy pioneer of the new age, but you actually look like a toddler on a vibrating plank who forgot how to use their legs. Is there anyone left who actually enjoys the sensation of walking, or is that too primitive for you now? The ugly truth is that you are trading thousands of daily steps for a thumb throttle and a lithium battery. This leads to a gradual weakening of your ankle stabilizers and a total lack of engagement from your core muscles. Your lymphatic system, which relies on muscle movement to pump fluid through your body, begins to stagnate like a clogged drain. You are essentially turning your lower limbs into decorative ornaments. It is the mechanical equivalent of using a crane to pick up a spoon. This is not smart transit. It is a physical surrender to the path of least resistance. Fact number 7. Smart home lighting, a synthetic sunset for your biological clock. Philips Hue and Lutron tell you that you can have any color of the rainbow at the touch of a button, promising a personalized lighting experience for every mood. You think you are the master of your environment, but you are actually blinding your internal clock with a neon sign. Do any of you actually sleep well, or do you just pass out from digital exhaustion? The reality is that these LED bulbs often emit a massive spike of blue light that tells your brain it is high noon even when it is midnight. This triggers a chemical suppression of melatonin, the hormone that tells your body it is time to repair itself. Your circadian rhythm starts to look like a broken compass, leading to a state of permanent social jet lag. Your cells are trying to run a night shift with the lights on, leading to oxidative stress and a total breakdown of your internal timing. It is like trying to play a delicate piano concerto while someone is banging on a drum next to your ear. This is not mood lighting, it is a chemical intervention in your sleep cycle. Fact number 8. GPS navigation, a digital leash for your mental map. Google Maps and Waze are marketed as the ultimate tools for efficiency, promising you will never be lost again in the concrete jungle. You think you are a modern navigator with the world in your pocket, but you are actually becoming a blind passenger who cannot find the grocery store without a voice telling you where to turn. Do you still know which way is north, Or did you lose that skill along with your flip phone? The reality strike comes when your battery dies and you realize you are functionally helpless in your own neighborhood. This constant reliance on external data causes the hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for spatial memory, to shrink like a raisin in the sun. You are essentially offloading your cognitive mapping to a satellite, leaving your mental hardware to gather dust. It is the intellectual equivalent of using a calculator to solve 2 plus 2 for the rest of your life. This is not direction. It is a digital guide dog for a brain that has forgotten how to see. Fact number 9. Voice assistants. An eavesdropping butler for your vocal cords. Amazon's Alexa and Apple's Siri are sold as the peak of luxury, a way to control your entire world without moving a single muscle. You think you are the captain of a starship, but you are really just a person talking to a plastic puck because you are too lazy to flip a light switch. Does anyone here remember how to perform a simple task without narrating it first? The hidden cost is the total erosion of your initiative and the subtle surrender of your privacy to a corporate ear. Technically, you are training your brain to expect instant gratification for every whim, which destroys your patience and your ability to plan ahead. Your cognitive load becomes so light that your problem-solving skills start to atrophy like an unused limb. It is like hiring someone to chew your food for you because your jaw is tired. This is not smart living. It is the voluntary installation of a corporate spy who feeds on your inability to move your own arm. Fact number 10. Online shopping. Subscriptions, a financial trapdoor for your impulse control. Amazon Prime and similar services paint a picture of a world where everything you desire is just one day away, promising limitless convenience for a small monthly fee. You think you are a savvy consumer winning at life, but you are actually a lab rat in a box designed to make you spend money before you even think. Have any of you checked your cardboard box pile lately, or is it currently serving as a new wing of your house? The reality is that the one-click culture bypasses the critical thinking part of your brain, turning your shopping habits into a neurological reflex. This constant influx of new stuff creates a temporary dopamine spike that quickly fades, leaving you in a state of perpetual dissatisfaction. Your financial discipline is being eroded by 1,000 tiny cuts of low monthly payments. It is the economic equivalent of trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom while someone else holds the hose. This is not saving time. It is a digital vacuum designed to suck your bank account dry. Fact number 11. Pre-cut vegetables, a high-priced tax on your basic motor skills. Supermarkets sell these plastic containers of chopped onions and sliced peppers as time savers for the busy modern professional. You think you are being efficient and healthy, but you are actually paying a 400% markup for someone else to do 5 minutes of work. Are you really that busy? Or did you just forget how to hold a knife without hurting yourself? The reality is that the moment a vegetable is cut, its cellular structure begins to oxidize, draining its nutritional value faster than a leaking battery. Many of these products are rinsed in chlorine washes to keep them looking fresh while they slowly rot in their plastic coffins. You are losing the tactile connection to your food and the basic dexterity required to prepare a meal. It is the culinary equivalent of buying a pre-chewed steak because you didn't want to use your teeth. This is not healthy living. It is a premium subscription to laziness that leaves you with wilted nutrients and a mountain of non-recyclable plastic. Fact number 12. Remote work from bed. A professional grave dug with a duvet. The work-from-home revolution promised us the ultimate freedom, with influencers showing off their laptop-in-bed lifestyle as the pinnacle of career success. You think you are the ultimate disruptor of the 9-to-5 grind, but you are actually turning your place of rest into a high-stress office. Can any of you actually fall asleep anymore, or does your pillow now smell like spreadsheets and anxiety? The reality is that your brain needs environmental cues to switch between active and rest modes. By blurring these lines, you are creating a state of permanent cognitive haze. Physically, your neck and spine are being forced into a C shape that would make a gargoyle cringe, leading to a structural collapse of your upper body. Your core muscles are basically falling asleep while your brain is trying to run a meeting. It is the professional equivalent of trying to swim in a pool of molasses while wearing a tuxedo. This is not freedom, It is the slow-motion destruction of your work-life boundary and your skeletal health. Fact number 13. Dry shampoo, a chemical mask for your hygienic procrastination. Brands like Batiste market this as a miracle in a can, promising you fresh-looking hair without the hassle of a 10-minute shower. You think you are a master of time management, but you are actually just layering starch and butane on your scalp like you're preparing a sourdough loaf. Do you actually feel clean, or are you just hoping no one stands too close to you? The reality is that dry shampoo does not remove dirt. It just coats it in powder to hide the oil. This leads to a massive buildup of chemical residue that clogs your hair follicles and suffocates your scalp's natural ecosystem. It is the hygienic equivalent of spray painting a dirty car instead of washing it. Your skin is your largest organ, and you are essentially sealing it shut with aerosolized chemicals. This is not beauty on the go. It is a desperate attempt to ignore your own biology in favor of 5 more minutes of scrolling on your phone. Fact number 14. Ride-sharing apps, a luxury carriage for the physically stagnant. Uber and Lyft have convinced us that walking 3 blocks is a logistical nightmare that requires a private driver and a climate-controlled sedan. You think you are living like a celebrity, but you are actually just a person who has lost the ability to move their own body through space. Are you still a mobile human, or have you become a stationary object that occasionally gets moved by an app? The reality strike hits your bank account and your waistline simultaneously. By eliminating the incidental movement of daily life, you are essentially putting your cardiovascular system on a permanent low-power mode. Your heart becomes as weak as a wet paper bag because it never has to pump blood against the resistance of gravity and motion. It is the physical equivalent of taking an elevator to go up 1 flight of stairs. This is not convenience. It is a systemic shutdown of your natural desire to explore your environment on your own 2 feet. Fact number 15. Streaming marathons, a digital sedative for your personal ambition. Netflix and Disney Plus are designed with autoplay features to keep you glued to the screen for hours, promising an immersive escape from your daily life. You think you are winding down, but you are actually letting your brain marinate in a digital vat of low-effort stimuli. Do any of you have hobbies anymore? Or is your only personality trait waiting for the next season? The reality is that this constant stream of blue light and passive consumption induces a state of mental fog that lasts long after the TV is off. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that makes decisions and plans for the future, essentially goes into a coma. You are trading your own potential for the fictional stories of people who don't exist. It is the intellectual equivalent of eating an entire tub of frosting and wondering why you feel sick. This is not entertainment. It is a voluntary surrender of your time and your cognitive edge to a corporate algorithm. Fact number 16. Robotic vacuums, a plastic beetle that eats your sense of responsibility. Roomba and its cousins are sold as the ultimate time savers, promising a hands-free home that cleans itself while you do more important things. You think you are living in the Jetsons, but you are actually just losing the final thread of discipline required to maintain your own space. Is there any chore left that you actually do yourself, or have you outsourced your entire existence? The reality is that these machines are often just spreading fine dust around while giving you a false sense of accomplishment. Physically, the act of cleaning your own house provides a baseline of functional movement that keeps your joints from seizing up. By delegating this to a puck with wheels, you are removing one more reason to stand up and engage with your surroundings. It is the domestic equivalent of hiring someone to breathe for you. This is not innovation. It is the steady erosion of the habits that keep a person grounded and active. Fact number 17. Adaptive cruise control, the autopilot for your vanishing attention span. Car manufacturers like Tesla and Volvo pitch this as a safety feature that takes the stress out of driving by automatically maintaining your speed and distance. You think you are a pilot of the future, but you are actually just a passenger who has been tricked into thinking they are still in control. Are you still watching the road, or are you just a spectator in your own life? The reality is that this technology leads to automation bias, where your brain stops paying attention to the environment because it trusts the machine too much. Your reaction times slow down to the level of a sleepy sloth, making you a danger the second the system fails. This is the mechanical equivalent of a child using training wheels well into their 30s. You are offloading the most critical part of driving, active engagement, to a bunch of sensors and code. This is not safety. It is the atrophy of your survival instincts in exchange for a slightly more relaxed commute. Fact number 18. Smartwatches, a digital warden for your biometric anxiety. Apple and Garmin sell these as health tools that track every heartbeat and step, promising to help you optimize your life. You think you are a high-performance athlete, but you are actually just a person who cannot tell if they are tired without checking a screen first. Do you still know how you feel, or do you need a vibrating wristband to tell you if you're stressed? The reality is that these devices often create a state of biometric anxiety, where you become obsessed with numbers that the sensors aren't even fully accurate at measuring. You are training your brain to ignore its own internal signals in favor of a digital readout. This leads to a total disconnection from your own intuition and physical self-awareness. It is the biological equivalent of wearing a leash that you bought for yourself. This is not wellness. It is a data-driven prison that turns your body into a series of charts and graphs for a tech company to analyze. Fact number 19. Instant coffee, a chemical dust masquerading as a morning ritual. Nespresso and Keurig have turned the art of brewing coffee into a plastic-heavy, one-button disaster that promises barista quality in seconds. You think you are a sophisticated coffee lover, but you are actually drinking stale, over-processed bean dust that has been sitting in a warehouse for 6 months. Is your time really so valuable that you can't wait 4 minutes for a French press? Or are you just a slave to the instant high? The reality is that these pods are often lined with plastic that leaches endocrine disruptors into your hot drink, messing with your hormonal balance. The coffee itself is stripped of its natural oils and antioxidants during the industrial drying process. You are essentially drinking a chemical approximation of energy. It is the culinary equivalent of sniffing a picture of a steak instead of eating one. This is not premium coffee. It is a fast food caffeine hit that values speed over substance and health. Fact number 20. Autocorrect and predictive text, a mental lobotomy in your pocket. Your iPhone and Android are constantly helping you finish your sentences, promising to make you a faster and more efficient communicator. You think you are a digital wizard, but you are actually losing the ability to spell basic words or form a coherent thought without an algorithm holding your hand. Can any of you still write a paragraph without a red line appearing? Or has your vocabulary shrunk to the size of a Twitter bio? The reality is that this technology causes cognitive offloading, where your brain stops trying to retrieve information because it knows the phone will do it. This leads to a literal thinning of the neural pathways associated with language and memory. You are becoming a human autocomplete, parroting the most likely words the machine thinks you want to say. It is the intellectual equivalent of using a crutch when your legs aren't even broken. This is not smart typing. It is the slow-motion silencing of your unique voice in favor of a corporate-approved average. Fact number 21. Online grocery apps, a digital fence for your natural foraging instincts. Instacart and Amazon Fresh sell you a vision of luxury where you never have to dodge a stray shopping cart or stand in a line again. You think you are a high-value person reclaiming your precious time. But you are actually just a bird in a cage waiting for a delivery person to drop seeds through the bars. Do you still know how to pick a ripe tomato? The reality strike hits when you realize you are paying a premium for bruised fruit you did not choose. Inside this system, your spatial navigation skills undergo a total architectural collapse. Your brain stops mapping the physical world because items just appear. This leads to sensory stagnation, where your tactile systems go dormant. It is like learning to swim by watching a fish video. This is not efficiency. It is a voluntary house arrest that turns you into a soft consumer afraid of an aisle. It relates to self-sufficiency the way a cardboard cutout relates to a person. Stop being a passenger. Use those limbs. Go walk now. Fact number 22. Electric toothbrushes, a vibrating jackhammer for your manual dexterity. Oral-B and Sonicare pitch these gadgets as the ultimate tool for a Hollywood smile, promising a professional clean every morning. You think you are a tech-savvy human with perfect hygiene, but you are actually just a person who forgot how to move their own hand in a circle. Are you still in control of your fine motor skills? The curtain falls when you realize you are just standing there like a statue while a plastic stick does the work. Technically, this leads to a mechanical wear and tear of your focus. Your hand-eye coordination begins to rust like an old hinge in a salty garage. Your brain stops sending precise signals to your fingers because the vibration does everything. It is like using a crane to pick up a single grape. This is not dental advancement. It is a motorized crutch for people who find the act of brushing too exhausting. It relates to real skill the way a vibrating chair relates to a workout. You are turning into a biological paperweight. Move your hand. Fact number 23. Video call blur, a digital shroud for your domestic decay. Zoom and Microsoft Teams offer background blur to keep your professional image sharp while your house is a disaster zone. You think you are a polished executive, but you are actually just hiding a mountain of laundry and a half-eaten pizza. Is there anyone here who actually cleaned their room today? The reality strike is that you are living in a sensory lie. This digital masking creates a psychological disconnect between your public persona and your private reality. Your brain begins to accept a state of surface-level order, while the actual structure of your life is crumbling. It is the electronic equivalent of putting a clean sheet over a pile of garbage. You are training yourself to be a master of illusions rather than a master of your environment. This is not privacy. It is a digital mask for your growing inability to manage your own physical space. It relates to integrity the way a filter relates to a real face. Stop hiding the mess and start cleaning your own cage. Fact number 24. Smart refrigerators, a cold silicone sarcophagus for your culinary awareness. Samsung and LG sell you a fridge with a screen, promising that you can check your eggs from your phone while at work. You think you are living in a sci-fi utopia, but you are actually just a person who is too disconnected to remember what they bought yesterday. Do you even know what is in the back of that shelf? The reality is that these screens are just another distraction in the one place where you should be focused on fuel. Inside this metal box, your natural intuition for food freshness is being replaced by a digital timer. This causes a total systemic failure of your memory and observation. You are offloading your basic survival instincts to a motherboard that will be obsolete in 3 years. It is like hiring a GPS to find your own bed. This is not smart living. It is the mechanical freezing of your common sense. It relates to nutrition the way a billboard relates to a garden. You are just a guest in your own kitchen now. How does that feel? Really? Fact number 25. Ergonomic office chairs, a padded straitjacket for your core strength. Herman Miller and Steelcase paint a picture of perfect support, promising that you can sit for 12 hours without feeling a thing. You think you are a high-performance worker, but you are actually just a person whose spine is turning into a wet noodle. Are you still able to stand up straight without a groan? The reality strike is that your stabilizer muscles are going into a permanent hibernation. This leads to an architectural collapse of your skeletal integrity. Your core becomes as weak as a soaked cardboard box because the chair is doing all the structural work. It is the physical equivalent of wearing a neck brace because you are too lazy to hold your own head up. This is not support. It is a velvet-lined trap that ensures your body becomes a soft, shapeless mass. It relates to health the way a parked car relates to a race. You are essentially paying $3,000 to let your muscles rot in style. Stand up before you fuse to the fabric. Fact number 26. Fast fashion apps, a disposable skin for your vanishing identity. Shein and Temu sell you the dream of a new wardrobe every week for the price of a sandwich, promising limitless style. You think you are a fashion icon, but you are actually just a delivery point for polyester waste. Do you even remember what you bought last month? The reality strike hits when the seams rip after 2 washes. These clothes are essentially made of woven oil and low-grade polymers that suffocate your skin's natural respiration. This creates a state of aesthetic amnesia, where you value quantity over any real substance or quality. It is the social equivalent of using paper plates for every meal because you hate washing dishes. You are trading your personal style for a digital trend that expires in 48 hours. This is not fashion. It is a disposable costume for a life that lacks any real texture. It relates to class the way a plastic spoon relates to silver. You are just a walking billboard for a landfill. Does it itch yet? It should. Fact number 27. Cloud storage, a digital attic for your mental clutter. iCloud and Google Drive promise you space for everything, telling you that you never have to delete a single memory again. You think you are an organized archivist of your own life, but you are actually just a digital hoarder with a bottomless trash can. Do you ever actually look at those 10,000 photos? The reality strike is that your brain stops filtering what is important. This causes a total overflow of your cognitive capacity. Your memory system begins to rust because it knows it doesn't have to hold on to anything. It is the electronic equivalent of a basement filled with boxes you will never open. You are losing the ability to live in the moment because you are too busy saving it for a future that never comes. This is not storage. It is a graveyard for your experiences. It relates to wisdom the way a hard drive relates to a soul. You are just a curator of digital ghosts. Delete something. See if you even care. You probably won't. Fact number 28. Keyless entry cars, a wireless leash for your physical awareness. Modern car brands sell the convenience of never taking your keys out of your pocket, promising a frictionless start to every journey. You think you are a high-tech driver, but you are actually just a person who is one battery failure away from being locked out of their own life. Do you even know how a lock works anymore? The reality strike is the total erosion of your tactile responsibility. This technology creates a security fog where you never actually confirm if your vehicle is safe. Your brain enters a state of passive reliance on a signal that can be intercepted by anyone with a $20 device. It is the mechanical equivalent of leaving your front door open and hoping for the best. You are trading your basic vigilance for a few seconds of saved effort. This is not progress, it is a digital vulnerability disguised as a luxury. It relates to safety the way a glass shield relates to a brick wall. You are just a passenger waiting for a glitch. Fact number 29. Meal prep kits, a paint-by-numbers set for your culinary atrophy. HelloFresh and Blue Apron sell you the joy of cooking without the stress of planning, promising a gourmet meal in a box. You think you are a chef, but you are actually just a person following a Lego manual for adults. Can you even cook if the box doesn't tell you how many teaspoons to use? The reality is that you are losing your food IQ. Your ability to understand flavors and ingredients is being replaced by a pre-portioned plastic bag. This leads to a total stagnation of your creative problem-solving in the kitchen. It is the culinary equivalent of using a coloring book and claiming you are an artist. You are paying a premium to be a low-level assembly line worker in your own home. This is not cooking. It is a subscription to a lack of imagination. It relates to gastronomy the way a frozen pizza relates to Naples. You are just a consumer of instructions. Try making something from scratch, if you remember how. Fact number 30. Blue light glasses, a plastic shield for your digital addiction. Brands sell these as eye protection for the modern worker, promising to stop the strain of staring at a screen for 10 hours. You think you are being proactive about your health, but you are actually just buying a license to stare at a glowing rectangle even longer. Why don't you just look at a tree for once? The reality strike is that the glasses do very little to fix the actual problem: sensory overload. This creates a false safety that encourages you to ignore your body's signals of exhaustion. Your optical system remains in a state of hyper-focus on a flat plane, leading to a long-term decline in your depth perception. It is the medical equivalent of wearing a helmet so you can run into walls more often. This is not eye care. It is a band-aid for a lifestyle that is fundamentally unnatural. It relates to vision the way a blindfold relates to a sunset. Put the phone down. The world is in 3 dimensions, you know. Fact number 31. AI chatbots, a silicon echo chamber for your declining wit. ChatGPT and Gemini are marketed as creative assistants, promising to help you write, think, and solve problems. You think you are an augmented genius, but you are actually just a person who is letting a machine do their thinking for them. Do you still have an original thought, or are you just editing a prompt? The reality strike is the total atrophy of your linguistic and analytical skills. Your brain stops struggling with complex ideas because it knows it can just ask. This leads to a state of mental softness, where your critical thinking becomes as weak as a wet napkin. It is the intellectual equivalent of using a motorized scooter to run a marathon. You are offloading your consciousness to a statistical model that doesn't actually understand anything. This is not intelligence. It is a digital mimicry of a human mind. It relates to genius the way a parrot relates to a poet. You are just a spectator of your own intellect. Speak for yourself. Fact number 32. Robot lawnmowers, a mechanical sheep that eats your outdoor pride. Husqvarna and Works sell you a perfect lawn without the toil of pushing a mower, promising a green carpet while you nap. You think you are the king of the suburbs, but you are actually just a person who is afraid of a blade of grass. Do you even know what your backyard smells like anymore? The reality is that you are removing the last bit of functional movement from your weekend. This leads to a state of domestic stagnation, where your relationship with your own land is managed by a plastic beetle. Your physical endurance begins to decline because you have outsourced every hard task. It is the natural equivalent of hiring someone to walk your dog while you watch through a window. This is not landscaping. It is a surrender to a sedentary existence. It relates to gardening the way a plastic plant relates to an oak tree. You are just a guest on your own property. Get a real mower. Feel the sweat. It won't kill you. Fact number 33. Smart water bottles, a glowing nanny for your basic thirst. Hydrate Spark sells a bottle that glows to remind you to drink water, promising optimal hydration through a phone app. You think you are a high-performance biohacker, but you are actually just a person who has forgotten how to listen to their own body. Are you really so disconnected that you don't know when you are thirsty? The reality strike is the total breakdown of your internal signaling. This technology creates a biological glitch where you stop trusting your own instincts. Your brain waits for a notification rather than a sensation. It is the physiological equivalent of wearing a diaper because you are too busy to go to the bathroom. This is not health. It is a digital crutch for a mind that has lost contact with its physical shell. It relates to survival the way a manual relates to breathing. You are a biological machine that forgot how its own gauges work. Drink when you're dry. It's not that hard. Really. Fact number 34. Subscription hobby boxes, a prepackaged personality for the bored. Companies like Hunt-A-Killer or Stitch Fix sell you a curated experience in a box, promising to give you a hobby without the effort of finding one. You think you are a multifaceted individual, but you are actually just a consumer of a predefined identity. Do you have any interests that weren't sold to you via Instagram ad? The reality strike is the loss of genuine curiosity. This hobby-in-a-box model removes the exploration and failure that makes a skill rewarding. You are just following a kit. This leads to a state of cultural emptiness, where your personality is just a collection of monthly deliveries. It is the social equivalent of buying a pre-filled bookshelf so you look smart. This is not growth. It is a commercial simulation of a passion. It relates to a real hobby the way a postcard relates to a journey. You are just a box opener. Go find something weird on your own. Try it. Fail at it. That is the point. Fact number 35. Contactless payments, a digital grease for your financial ruin. Apple Pay and Tap to Pay cards are sold as frictionless, promising a faster way to get what you want. You think you are a modern, efficient spender, but you are actually just a person who has lost the pain of paying. Do you even know how much that coffee cost? Or did you just wave your wrist? The reality strike is the total erosion of your financial awareness. This technology bypasses the psychological check that happens when you handle physical cash. Your brain stops treating money as a finite resource and starts seeing it as a digital score. This leads to a state of fiscal numbness, where your debt grows while you feel nothing. It is the economic equivalent of a slow leak in a boat that you refuse to look at. This is not convenience. It is a trap designed to make you spend more than you have. It relates to wealth the way a mirage relates to water. Check your balance. It's lower than you think. Fact number 36. Electric blankets, a synthetic fever for your metabolic engine. Sunbeam and various brands sell cozy warmth at the flick of a switch, promising a perfect night's sleep in a heated nest. You think you are pampering yourself, but you are actually just short-circuiting your body's ability to regulate its own temperature. Are you still a mammal, or have you turned into a reptile? The reality strike is that your internal furnace is going cold. This leads to a state of biological laziness, where your cells stop producing heat because the blanket does it for them. This messes with your deep sleep cycles and prevents your body from performing vital thermal repairs. It is the natural equivalent of keeping your car engine running all night so it stays warm. This is not comfort. It is a thermal crutch that makes you fragile and dependent. It relates to vitality the way a heater relates to a campfire. You are losing your edge. Turn it off. Let your body do its job for once. Fact number 37. Modern baby monitors, a digital panic button for the over-anxious. Owlet and Nanit sell cameras that track a baby's breathing and heart rate, promising peace of mind for new parents. You think you are being a responsible protector, but you are actually just training yourself to live in a state of permanent, high-tech fear. Do you ever actually sleep, or do you just watch a screen? The reality strike is the total destruction of parental intuition. This technology creates a dependency loop, where you stop trusting your own senses. Your brain becomes wired to react to digital alerts rather than the actual environment. It is the social equivalent of hiring a bodyguard to watch you sleep in your own house. This is not safety. It is a commercialization of anxiety that prevents you from developing real confidence. It relates to parenting the way a manual relates to love. Trust your eyes. Trust your ears. Put the tablet down. The kid is fine. You are the one who is glitching. Fact number 38. Auto parking systems, a motorized blindfold for your spatial skill. Car companies like BMW and Ford pitch Park Assist as a way to avoid the stress of parallel parking. You think you are a luxury driver, but you are actually just a person who lost the ability to judge distances. Can you still park without a beep, or are you going to hit the curb? The reality strike is the total atrophy of your spatial intelligence. Your brain stops calculating angles and depth because the car does the math. This leads to a state of mechanical blindness, where you are useless in any vehicle older than 5 years. It is the physical equivalent of using a walker because you are afraid of tripping. This is not utility. It is a surrender of your basic competence as a driver. It relates to skill the way a video game relates to war. You are just a button pusher. Learn to park your own steel box. It is embarrassing to watch you struggle. Just saying. Fact number 39. Digital photo frames, a flickering screen for your dying memories. Brands like Aura sell frames that cycle through thousands of photos, promising a living gallery of your life. You think you are honoring your past, but you are actually just turning your memories into a background noise that you ignore. Do you even see the pictures anymore, or are they just a blur of color? The reality strike is the devaluation of the image. When every photo is shown, nothing is special. This leads to a state of nostalgic fatigue, where your brain stops connecting with the stories behind the faces. It is the electronic equivalent of a TV that only plays commercials for your own life. You are trading a deep connection for a shallow stream of data. This is not legacy. It is a digital screensaver for an empty room. It relates to history the way a GIF relates to a movie. Pick one photo, print it, hang it. That is how you remember. This is just noise. Fact number 40. Air purifiers, a sterile bubble for your weakened immune system. Dyson and Honeywell sell clean air in a box, promising to remove every speck of dust and pollen. You think you are creating a healthy sanctuary, but you are actually just living in a biological vacuum that makes you allergic to the outside world. Are you afraid of a little dust? The reality strike is the total stagnation of your respiratory resilience. This technology creates a hothouse effect, where your lungs lose the ability to handle normal environmental stress. This leads to a state of immune boredom, where your body starts attacking itself because it has nothing else to do. It is the medical equivalent of living in a plastic bubble, so you don't get a cold. This is not purity. It is a physical isolation from the reality of the planet. It relates to health the way a laboratory relates to a forest. Go outside. Breathe some real air. Even the dirty stuff. It builds character. You need it. Fact number 41. Smart doorbells. A high-definition peephole for your social anxiety. Ring and Nest present a vision of a secure fortress where you are always in control of your porch. You imagine yourself as a vigilant guardian of your domain, but you are actually just a person who jumps when a leaf blows past the camera. Have any of you lost the ability to open the door without checking a smartphone first? The truth hits when you realize you are paying a subscription fee to feel nervous about the mailman. Technically, this constant surveillance triggers a state of chronic hypervigilance in your amygdala, the brain's alarm center. Your nervous system stays in a low-level fight-or-flight mode because you have turned your home into a high-security zone. It is the psychological equivalent of living in a prison cell where you also have to pay the guards. This is not protection. It is a digital magnifying glass for your fear. It relates to peace the way a siren relates to a lullaby. You are just a hermit with a Wi-Fi connection. Wake up. Fact number 42. Electric bicycles. A motorized cheat code for your vanishing endurance. Brands like Rad Power or Van Moof pitch the joy of cycling without the sweat, promising that you can conquer hills like a mountain goat. You think you are an eco-warrior on two wheels, but you are actually just a person on a moped who wants to feel like an athlete. Are any of you still capable of pedaling without a lithium boost, or have your quads turned into jelly? The reality strike is the total stagnation of your aerobic capacity. Technically, your body stops producing the necessary mitochondrial adaptations because the motor is doing all the heavy lifting. Your cardiovascular system enters a state of metabolic slumber while you zip through traffic at 20 miles per hour. It is the mechanical equivalent of using a forklift to carry a grocery bag. This is not active transport. It is a motorized crutch that ensures you stay soft while looking sporty. It relates to fitness the way a reclining chair relates to a squat. Put the battery away, pedal harder. Fact number 43. Algorithm playlists, a musical feeding tube for your dying taste. Spotify and Apple Music promise perfect discovery, telling you that their AI knows your soul better than you do. You think you are a musical explorer, but you are actually just a captive audience for a mathematical average. Have you ever tried to find a song without a recommended list? Or are you just a puppet of the skip button? The reality is that your auditory cortex is being pruned into a narrow hallway of familiar sounds. This technology causes a state of melodic atrophy, where your brain loses the ability to process complex or challenging rhythms. You are being fed a diet of digital sugar that matches your current mood, preventing any real emotional growth or surprise. It is the culinary equivalent of eating nothing but mashed potatoes because you are too lazy to chew. This is not curation. It is a sonic blindfold that keeps you trapped in a loop of the same three chords. It relates to art the way a screensaver relates to a masterpiece. Choose. Fact number 44. Hand sanitizers. A chemical scorched earth policy for your skin. Purell and Dettol sell you the dream of a germ-free life, promising to shield you from the invisible world. You think you are a clean, protected human, but you are actually just a walking petri dish of fragility. Is there anyone left who isn't afraid of a doorknob? Or has the fear taken over your brain? The reality strike is the total destruction of your skin's natural microbiome. Inside that bottle, high concentrations of ethanol strip away the lipid barrier, leaving your hands as dry as a desert floor. This triggers a systemic vulnerability where your body's first line of defense is cracked and broken. It is the architectural equivalent of removing the outer walls of a house to keep the dust out. This is not hygiene. It is a chemical surrender that makes you weaker with every squirt. It relates to health the way a bleach bath relates to a spa day. Stop being a bubble boy. Dirt builds a real shield. Get some on you. Feel the earth. Now. Fact number 45. Push notifications. A digital taser for your fragile focus. Every app on your phone uses alerts to keep you informed, promising that you will never miss a single moment of the digital noise. You think you are a connected person of the world, but you are actually just a dog salivating at a buzzer. Are you still the master of your own attention, or is it currently for sale to the highest bidder? The reality is that these pings trigger a spike in cortisol, the stress hormone, every few minutes. Your prefrontal cortex is being shredded into 1,000 tiny pieces, making deep thought an impossible dream. You are living in a state of cognitive fragmentation, where your brain can no longer finish a single sentence without checking a screen. It is the electronic equivalent of a toddler screaming in your ear while you try to write a book. This is not staying updated. It is a neurological hijacking of your life. It relates to focus the way a strobe light relates to a candle. Turn them off. Be silent. Fact number 46. Heated car seats. A toasted bun for your pelvic circulation. Luxury car brands sell winter comfort as a basic human right, promising a warm embrace for your backside. You think you are treating yourself to a premium experience, but you are actually just slow cooking your own internal systems. Does anyone here remember how to handle a cold morning without a heating element? The reality strike hits your biological thermostat. This artificial warmth causes a total shutdown of your body's natural thermal regulation. In men, this can lead to a state of thermal stagnation that messes with delicate reproductive hardware. Your tissues become accustomed to external heat, leading to a decline in cellular resilience. It is the mechanical equivalent of leaving a toaster on a wooden table. This is not luxury. It is a biological oven that turns your lower body into a stagnant pond of unearned warmth. It relates to vitality the way a microwave relates to a sunbeam. Keep it cool. Your body was built for the cold. Use it. Fact number 47. Productivity apps, a digital mirror for your procrastination. Notion and Todoist promise to organize your life, telling you that a better list will lead to a better you. You think you are a high-output machine, but you are actually just a person who spends 3 hours a day moving digital boxes around. Do you actually do the work, or do you just enjoy the click of a checkbox? The reality is that you are falling for productivity theater. This triggers a fake dopamine loop that makes your brain think it has accomplished something when it hasn't even started. Your ability to engage in deep work is being replaced by the shallow management of a screen. It is the construction equivalent of polishing the hammer instead of hitting the nail. This is not efficiency. It is a complex ritual designed to hide your own laziness. It relates to success the way a roadmap relates to a journey. Put the phone down and just do the task. It is not that complicated. Sherlock Holmes would be disappointed. Just move. Fact number 48. Filtered water pitchers, a hollow liquid for your mineral-starved cells. Brita and Pure sell you purity, promising to remove every contaminant from your tap. You think you are a health-conscious hero, but you are actually just drinking a liquid vacuum. Is there any part of nature you still trust, or is everything a threat to you now? The reality strike is the total stripping of essential minerals like magnesium and calcium from your hydration source. This causes a state of osmotic imbalance, where the water actually leaches nutrients out of your body to find a balance. Your cells are essentially being rinsed with a chemical void. It is the natural equivalent of eating a plastic apple because you were afraid of a bruise. This is not clean water. It is a processed ghost of a life-giving substance. It relates to nutrition the way a white wall relates to a forest. You need the minerals. You need the grit. Stop filtering the life out of your drink. Drink it straight. Be a human. Fact number 49. Dating app swiping, a genetic lottery for the emotionally bankrupt. Tinder and Bumble sell the dream of infinite choice, promising that your soulmate is just one swipe away. You think you are a modern romantic, but you are actually just a shopper at a human meat market. Do you still see people, or are you just looking at a series of pixels and bios? The reality strike is the total desensitization of your oxytocin system. This paradox of choice causes a state of emotional paralysis, where you can never be satisfied because the next option might be better. Your brain is being trained to view human connection as a disposable commodity. It is the social equivalent of trying to eat at a buffet with 10,000 dishes while being blindfolded. This is not dating. It is a digital slot machine that pays out in loneliness and shallow validation. It relates to love the way a billboard relates to a touch. Delete the app. Go talk to a stranger. It is terrifying, isn't it? Good. That is where life is. Fact number 50. Voice memos, a sonic dump for your unfiltered ego. WhatsApp and iMessage have convinced us that typing is too slow, promising a faster way to share our thoughts. You think you are a busy communicator, but you are actually just a person who subjects their friends to 5 minutes of verbal diarrhea. Have you forgotten how to form a concise sentence? Or do you just like the sound of your own voice? The reality is the total loss of syntactical discipline. This leads to a state of mental clutter, where you stop filtering your thoughts before they leave your mouth. Your brain becomes lazy, relying on rambling rather than precision. It is the domestic equivalent of leaving your trash on the sidewalk and expecting someone else to pick it up. This is not convenient communication. It is a digital tax on other people's time and attention. It relates to conversation the way a megaphone relates to a whisper. Think first, speak second. Stop the recording. You aren't that interesting. Fact number 51. Virtual reality, a plastic blinder for the last remnant of your reality. Meta and Apple sell spatial computing, promising that the world isn't big enough for your imagination. You think you are a pioneer of the future, but you are actually just a person with a heavy box strapped to their face in a dark room. Are you still here, or have you finally checked out of the simulation? The reality strike is the total proprioceptive mismatch. Your brain thinks you are flying, but your body is rotting in a chair. This causes a systemic breakdown of your sensory integration, leading to a state of physical alienation. You are trading the texture of the real world for a low-resolution cartoon. It is the architectural equivalent of living in a cardboard box while wearing glasses that show you a palace. This is not the next frontier. It is the ultimate white flag of surrender. It relates to life the way a dream relates to a heartbeat. Take it off. Look at the wall. The wall is real. That is enough. Done.